Tighten up.
Yep.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
RX Television on RXMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. This is Olympia week, so this is the Olympia week edition of Ask Dave. So we welcome your Olympia-related questions, and at the end of the show, Dave will make his official 2022 Olympia predictions. We have a ton of questions, a lot of good questions. Obviously, this is the busiest time of the year, the most exciting time of the year as far as the bodybuilding calendar is concerned. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement. Obviously, this is peak season for all the progress pictures, so we've been posting them on our Instagram, official_RXMuscle. And again, full disclosure, this is pre-taped. So if you're watching this, chances are our team is already in place in Vegas. And the plan is to be collecting content, to be getting interviews, to be covering wall-to-wall, not only the show, but in and everything going around on the Vegas Strip, Olympia related. Let's go to the questions. The first 2 questions, of course, from the Dave Palumbo Experience. That first question, best way to lower LDL cholesterol?
You know, I get asked this question a lot, and these questions, these first 2 questions we do every week are from my Dave Palumbo Experience app, where you can download at the iTunes Store, Android Store. It's $29 a month. You get access to all my writings I've done over the years, all the videos I do on a regular basis in one spot, easy to find. We do a workout every week we put up on the app, and I answer everyone's questions on the app in an open forum, so everyone sees everyone's questions, everyone's answers. And then I do a Q&A video, just like I'm doing here with Ask Dave, an exclusive one just for the app members. So it's like an ongoing educational tool that you guys have, like Dave Palumbo, in your back pocket, essentially. Great stocking stuffer gift. Check it out at the Android or iTunes Store. Now, getting back to the original question, which was how do you lower LDL cholesterol? You can go on medications, all right? The doctors love to prescribe medications. You know, that's what they do. They get the prescription pad is burning a hole in their hand. They got to write prescriptions. I would not go that route unless you have a genetic family history of high LDLs where you're in the 200s, and no matter what you do, you can't lower it naturally. And your family has a history of it, and you have people with heart disease and blockages of the coronary arteries. Those are people that should be on statins. Everyone else, I would not mess with statins, okay? I know doctors that your cholesterol is 130 and normal is 100, the LDL we're talking about component, and they're ready to put them on a statin already. I mean, that's silly, okay? What I recommend to do, number one, is take a really high-quality psyllium-based fiber supplement, Fiberlize, which is what we make, obviously, here at Species Nutrition. Fits the bill perfectly for that. I give it to all my clients who have high cholesterol. I give it to all my clients, period, but it absolutely brings down LDL every time, because fiber, soluble fiber that is, binds up the bile salts that contain the LDL cholesterol, because our liver actually gets rid of LDL cholesterol, and it throws it into the digestive system through the bile, and that's how it gets it. That's how all the toxins essentially get out of our body. The problem is that we reabsorb these bile salts, and thus the LDLs, in our intestinal tract. And so you're not getting rid of the LDLs, you're recycling them. Fiber binds these LDL bile salts up and pulls them out of the body. So it lowers LDL cholesterol pretty efficiently right off the bat, mechanically speaking. It mechanically grabs it and takes it out. Now, chemically speaking, essential fatty acids lower LDL cholesterol. By what mechanism? I have no idea. I really don't know the biochemistry of it. It's not that interesting, so to me, so I don't really know it. I don't even know if the general population of doctors and physicians understand why these essential fatty acids, specifically the EPA, DHA, which are the omega-3 intermediates, and then the omega-6 intermediates like that you find in evening primrose oil, borage oil, also had a LDL lowering effect on the body. So if you take a product like Omega-Lyze, which is 3 pills twice a day, combined, not at the same time as Fiber-Lyze, separate them, but those two components alone will lower your LDL cholesterol significantly. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 points. I'm talking about 30 to 40 points. Try that first and stay on that. Don't stop it just because it doesn't go down enough for you. If you can't get it into the normal range, you might need to then consider doing something else. We know exercise, cardio will lower it a little bit as well. Even weight training, resistance exercise in general lowers LDL cholesterol. And, not eating cholesterol in the diet will not lower it. It has no effect on that. That cholesterol consumption doesn't really translate into high LDL. That's the biggest myth out there. Even the American Heart Association admits that now, that's not the case. So eating sugar, however, which increases the synthesis of LDL cholesterol, can be a problem. So you want to definitely eliminate sugar in your diet if you have high cholesterol levels. Same thing with triglycerides. If you have high triglycerides, it's from eating sugar, believe it or not.
Second question, again from the Dave Palumbo Experience app, contest related. Please go over your recommendations regarding posing trunks.
That's a good question. I used to use the off the rack, as we say it. Andreas Calling used to make these posing trunks back in the 80s and early 90s, and everyone bought them. I mean, there was really only 2 companies. It was Andreas Calling's posing trunks that he would sell, and then there was Jaguar. That was the higher, slightly higher end version of posing trunks. And then all of a sudden, people started to make their own suits. And I've been using CJ, Cynthia James, CJ's Elite suits. I used them for years. I would call her up and say, I need a suit for the USA. What color? She'd send me pattern styles, and I would give her my measurements. And she didn't even need my measurements after a while because she knew me and what my size was. And she would just make me a custom suit and send it off. And I send a lot of people over to her. For men's posing suits, I think she does probably the best job out there because she knows how to pinch them in the back, so they really they really taper and really fit the glute area really well without showing too much, but without covering too much. They're not like those. I hate guys that wear posing trunks. They look like bloomers. They're like loose material hanging there because they don't fit perfectly. And she does a great job. There are plenty of other people out there that do a really good job too with the posing suits, custom suits. Now for women's suits, I mean, she does an awesome job, but there's a lot of other people out there that also, you can get crazy with crystals and that and this and that. I'm assuming you're asking me about men's posing trunks. She does a great job, like I said, and there are other people out there, but always get a custom suit at this point. They're cheap enough that it doesn't even warrant you buying something off a rack or something like that. And you know what? This is just my opinion. I like a wet look to the suit. In other words, I don't like that crushed velvet. I don't even know if people use that anymore, but that was a big thing for a while. It just looks dry. You get all this oil on your body. You want a suit that has like a reflection that's shiny looking. So you definitely want to go with the shiny material, not like a dull or crushed velvet look. To me, that just doesn't look right. You get this dry look on your suit, and then your whole body is oiled up. So talk to CJ; she'll take care of you.
Let's go to our Instagram. On Instagram, official_RXMuscle over the course of the next few days. Anywhere we go in Vegas, anyone that we run into during the course of Olympia weekend, and we will have it documented on our feed, on our stories. And then, of course, the actual prejudging and night shows. We're going to be taking rapid fire photos of all the action of all the competitions. We'll be loading it up on our feed. So if you're not already subscribed there, official_RXMuscle. And then, of course, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell. You're not going to miss anything over the course of the next few days that we're going to be dropping on the RXMuscle YouTube channel. We're going to have so much content over the course of the next few days. We have some big, well, actually, again, this is pre-recorded. So by now you will have seen the clips from Phil Heath and Dennis James, the full Olympia preview yet to be dropped again on this channel. If you like what you're watching, hit the like button, comment below, and as always, we appreciate your support throughout the course of the calendar year. Olympia related questions as promised. Let's go first to Loving D's. Krizo, quote unquote, in pictures looks better than Nick Walker. That doesn't mean crap, but judging from pics, holy crap. So I'm gonna rely on what Lee Priest always says, and that is basically that none of what you're gonna see leading up to the show matters. Nothing you see on Instagram is gonna matter. What you see on the stage is what's gonna matter. What say you on that?
Look, I've seen Krizo's contest pictures, and I've seen Nick Walker's contest pictures. I've seen Nick Walker in person. I don't think there's any way that Nick Walker loses to Michael Krizo. The level of conditioning and graininess and gnarliness in Nick's physique is just light years better than Krizo. Krizo's got some good body parts, however. I will say that. I mean, if you want to just talk body parts, he probably has better body parts. Like, if you went body part for body part with Nick, in terms of like maybe his arms are better, his shoulders are a little better, but he doesn't beat Nick as a whole. And I don't even think Krizo is going to make top 5, to be honest with you. I think he probably makes the top 10. I don't think he's going to be in the top 5 at all. I don't think he has that level of like, I mean, people forget Nick Walker won the Arnold Classic. He probably should have been 4th last year at the Olympia, his first time out. This guy's going to be deadly on that stage. And so anyone who's betting against him is making a big mistake. I could guarantee you that.
Big Ant, do you think if Akim Williams comes in with crazy conditioning, can he crack the top 6? I mean, we saw him crack the top 6 2 years ago, but your thoughts on Akim Williams?
Akim has enough muscle to be top 6 for sure. And when he's in really good shape, he definitely has the wow factor. He's got a really small waist. He's got great arms. He's got, good shoulder and pecs. He's got a really good front quads. When his glutes get striated, they're really good. His back is, his back is right there. You know what I mean? His back is still his weakness, I think. And in this lineup at the Olympia, where they love backs, I think he's going to have trouble with some of these guys. Can he make the top 6? Absolutely. Because you know why? Not everyone is going to be in shape. So we're trying to handicap this show, and we're trying to make predictions based on if everyone was in shape. But we know that's not the case. So if Akim comes in looking awesome, and that's really all he should worry about is bringing his best condition to the stage. If he does that, and a couple of guys miss their peak, he absolutely could be in there. I just think if everyone is at their best, I think he's going to have trouble being in the top 6. I think he could definitely be in that 7 through 8 range. But he's going to have his work cut out for him for sure. Only because in a lineup, he sometimes doesn't look quite as big as he does when he's alone.
Take a departure from Olympia. Somebody's asking if you still do online coaching. Yes, where can you contact him? Huge285 at AOL.com. That's right. Dave
Yes.
still uses an AOL email address.
100%. Yes.
Justin Duville. What can you recommend for a fertility cycle for men? Also, is it possible to influence the gender of a child? I've heard that it will be more likely to have a girl while on TRT.
The female sperm seem to swim better. So that's why I think a lot of guys who do get women pregnant while they're on gear tend to have girls. I think Ronnie Coleman has all girls, right? I don't think he has any boys. He's got like 8 girls or something like that. That's just what I've witnessed over the years. However, I do know people that have gotten women pregnant on gear and they had boys, but it seems like there's a lot of girls out there. Now, if you do the fertility protocol that I give out for free to everyone because I feel it's a service I need to give to people, I think I've had helped more people who have babies than Dr. Spock, the old the old fertility guy. Not Dr. Spock, yeah, not Mr. Spock. No one even knows what I'm talking about. Too old. But I will tell you this: the key is to, number 1, produce more sperm. Number 2, make sure they swim right. Number 3, make sure they have good morphology, which is their form and shape. And nothing improves the number of sperm better than HMG or synthetic FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Same thing. Nowadays, they actually have a synthetic form of HMG. It's known as just FSH, and usually has some kind of a brand name. I know Titan Medical Center does sell it, TitanMedicalCenter.com. I send a lot of people there to get that. If you want to go through other means to get HMG, same thing. It's the same dosage. It's 75 IUs 3 times a week until she gets pregnant. I like to put HCG in there too, because that kind of stimulates sperm production, stimulates testosterone production in the testicles, but that bathes those Sertoli cells in the testicles, which produce the sperm. So it kind of helps the process, but HCG doesn't get the job done as well as HMG does. Now, once we have sperm numbers, which a lot of people can get those up to normal levels pretty quickly, can they swim? That's known as motility. The motility of a sperm is how well it swims, and nothing improves motility better than injectable glutathione. Now, I didn't know this. I've told the story before. My third child, I was on no fertility drugs. The first 2 I was taking my protocol, and I was just taking my glutathione every day. I just took it for health and longevity purposes. And we had our third kid, and I did some reading, and I didn't even know it did that, but it increases sperm motility quite a bit. So it improves the health of all cells, really, is what it does. But the sperm seem to like it, and so that's an important adjunct, and you can get that from TitanMedicalCenter.com. They sell nice big bottles of injectable glutathione. You cannot take glutathione pills. You can't absorb glutathione orally, and it just doesn't it's not going to raise those levels. You got to inject it. The third aspect would be morphology, and because if you have good sperm numbers, and they swim well, but they're not shaped right, then they can't also fertilize the egg properly. So you want good morphology, and that seems to be, according to the research I've done, due to you want to have a healthy vitamin, healthy levels of your vitamins in your body, B vitamins, A, B, C, D, the whole gamut. You also want to make sure that you're getting all the minerals. Minerals, control how these sperm cells move to magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, all that stuff. So a good multivitamin, multi-mineral, I just suggest people take my V Mineralized, because I know it's got everything in there that you need in the right dosages. So if you take the V Mineralized, injectable glutathione, some HMG, HCG, and I always throw Clomidin for good measure, because it blocks estrogen receptors in the hypothalamus, keeps your pituitary working better, at 50 milligrams per day. That seems to be the magic bullet. If you want, I can email you the protocol. Anyone out there who's interested, you can always reach out to me. Same email Sid gave before, huge285@AOL.com. And I would be more than happy to help you with that, because, it is frustrating. And you know what happens? After a while, it doesn't become fun anymore trying to have a baby. Sex becomes like this, oh, we got to do it again. Oh, and then you're fighting with each other, because the longer it takes to get pregnant, then you start getting, blaming each other. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. There's no reason for that. You take the protocol. You have to stop all the anabolics. You have to stop HRT. Can't do that. You can take some GH. It's no big deal. But you cannot take anything steroidal, and do the protocol until the person gets pregnant. Once she's done, do whatever you want after that. So that's my answer. It's a long answer, but it requires a long answer, because it's that important if you want to have kids.
Back to Olympia-related questions. One of the more compelling storylines, obviously, will be Derek Lunsford making his debut in the open class. And you brought this up in conversation with Jose Raymond on Heavy Muscle Radio, and that is the comparison. Well, if you were to have Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan, and I remember Chris Tito even said in response to somebody saying that I guess he might be on the decline. No, that he's only getting better and better as we see every year. What would you make of a pose down, or a comparison rather, between Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan, given Derek now obviously at the upgraded size, no longer having to fit into that 212 mold, and that sheer conditioning that we would expect to see out of Hadi Choopan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a conditioning guy. Like, I really believe conditioning, wins shows for people. And Derek has had great conditioning before, but he hasn't had Hadi Choopan, conditioning that I've seen. But he also wasn't at his best when he was doing 212, because he had to make a weight. So we haven't seen Derek at his best. We're just guessing based on his structure and what he brings to the stage. I think he has a prettier physique than Hadi Choopan. I think he's got better legs, and Hadi's got good legs. I think he's got a better back, and I think the way he flows, it's better. But if Hadi comes in that grainy, gnarly, conditioned state, and Derek's a little, maybe a little soft here or there because he didn't quite tweak it, or maybe try to come in too big, then Hadi will win. But I think if Derek can bring in the conditioning that we all know he's capable of, I think he can beat Hadi. It's going to really depend on what these guys bring, and so for me to speculate, they're so close that it's basically a coin flip. If I said this one's going to beat that one or that one's going to beat this one, either one of them can prove me right by just the other one being off a little bit. So all things equal, everyone at their best, I think I have to say, I think Derek Lunsford beats him, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case come Saturday.
Let's go to Alan Finch. Another name when we talk about the quote unquote in Phil Heath's terms, disruptors, those that could crash the top six party, and obviously this would be a prime candidate. Someone who finished 7th last year, Iain Valliere. Your input on Iain? I think he is truly the biggest dark horse. He's so big, condition, consistency. I mean, obviously we've seen Iain's progression, and he too has been fairly active in terms of posting his updates recently. Given the profile of Iain Valliere, some of the progressions that he made, some of the progress that he has made, in your opinion, does he crash that top 6? Does he take somebody out? Would it take somebody being off for him to enter that top 6? Where do you profile Iain Valliere in this Olympia?
In the past, and I say in the past because we don't know what's going to happen into this year's Olympia, Iain has every tool that you would want as a bodybuilder, right? I mean, he's got size, he's big structure, he's tall, but not too tall. He's got a ton of muscle on his body, and he's always in really good shape. But for some reason, he gets kind of like lost sometimes in that lineup. And I don't know why, because he is so broad. It almost looks like he gets a little nervous and scared, and like he's not allowing his charisma to show on stage. And I think that's hurting him, because I think when you break down physiques after the show and you look at what he brings to the table versus the other guys, you can make a case for him beating a lot of these guys that wind up beating him. But when you see him on stage, it's like, where was he? He kind of wasn't. I didn't really see him. I don't remember his physique or something like that. I think he has to be a lot more assertive on stage. He's got to be a lot more aggressive. He's got to be, I love to be here. Big smile on his face. He's got to bring his personality to the stage. And when he does that, he has every tool to be in that top 6. There's not one guy that he really can't beat, aside from maybe Ramy, if he's at his best. You can make a case for it because he's got such a huge structure and he's got good conditioning. His presentation has gotten better over the last couple of years too. So he's a dangerous guy. I agree with the question, the person asking the question. He is a dark horse. He is a dangerous guy because of the fact that he's right there and he has the tool set. He's not too short where he's going to be overlooked. He takes up just as much room as the biggest guys on stage width-wise. He's got a small waist. He checks all the boxes. I think, once again, the thing that's been missing is confidence. And I think that the more he competes, the more confident he's getting. He's still young. This could be his breakout year, and he could shock a lot of people. And the great thing about that is that no one's expecting anything from him. Takes the pressure off Iain, and we might see the best Iain Valliere that we've ever seen. So don't be surprised.
So we have a really profound question, but I wanted you to clear something up because we do get this question time and time again, and I don't know if he's trolling us or you just want to put it on record. Are you banned from the Olympia?
Yeah, someone else told me that too. Someone else asked me that. One of my clients asked me, they're like, "Are you banned from the Olympia?" I said, "Who told you that?" And I'm not going to say who said so. It was like a game of telephone, I think it was, because someone had asked about 10 years ago or 8 years ago when we didn't have press passes, and over some stupid Robin Chang crap that went on, and who used to be promoted, he used to run the backstage of the Olympia, and because someone had criticized something about the Olympia and they weren't going to give us press passes. that was a long time ago. I don't know how that came out this year. I mean, obviously we got Dan Solomon and I talk all the time, and we got, press pass, everything. I'm not going personally because I just physically can't walk that much yet. I mean, I'm just starting to walk on my foot. I had my ankle fused. If you guys don't know what an ankle fusion is, my ankle is now at this right angle. It does not bend. My foot will not bend like this. My toes bend, but my ankle is stuck like this. So when I'm walking, I'm just starting to put full pressure on it. So, and I don't do it all day because I want to make sure it's really fused. Then I'm gonna have to wear like a shoe. It's called a Hoka shoe. I don't know if you guys have seen these Hoka shoes. It's like it rolls. It has like a rolling bottom. A lot of runners wear them. They're very popular in the running community. But I'm gonna have to wear those type of shoes the rest of my life. Otherwise, I won't be able to walk, because what it does is it allows your foot in a fixed position to still roll, and so you can have a normal gait. But I'm still learning all that. So you know how much walking. If any of you guys have been to Vegas, there's a huge amount of walking to do there. And I know myself. I'll push, Sid, I'll push myself.
Yeah,
push
exactly.
Myself,
yeah. It would be nonstop. And
with a damaged ankle. Yeah, it would be ridiculous. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to do I don't want to screw myself up, because I'm my worst enemy, because I'm a workaholic. I just won't stop. I'm like, we got to go here. We got to go here. We got to go here, Sid. We got to go there. And I'll be hobbling and just, before I know it, I won't be able to walk anymore, because I will have screwed my foot up. So I'm not going purposely. But RXMuscle, we have full access. Even Lee Priest was given press passes for us. So all is good with his new tattoo, by the way. All is good. And I don't know. I don't know where that rumor came from, but I think it was just a misunderstanding that someone was talking about years past.
So on the record, Dave Palumbo is not banned, nor is RXMuscle banned from the Olympia. All right, so let's get to
Not that we know. No. I talked.
Not that we know. No. We get there. It could be a different story. Who knows?
As long as Dan's there.
Before we get to your predictions, this is a pretty profound question by Christoph. What mindset do winners have to stay on top? Mentioned specifically Chris Bumstead, Phil Heath, Arnold Ronnie. What did they have mentally that other pros didn't?
I call it mental maturity. And I can successfully say that I did not have that early in my career. Jay Cutler has been very mature, even from a young age of 19, 20 years old. He just exuded a lot of confidence in himself and a lot of maturity. He had a game plan in his head. He stuck to it. He didn't seem like a guy who overreacted and panicked. And I can't say that. I was a very emotional, I emotionally reacted a lot. I was nervous. I wasn't sure of myself in something. I was sure of the work that I put in and the effort I put in, but there was a certain level of uncertainty that I had. And I think guys like Cutler, maybe it's because they're genetically superior to everyone else. If I was that genetically superior, I might have that great mindset too. But Ronnie always was like, I'm doing this for the fun. He never bodybuilded because I want to make a lot of money. He was working as a cop for most of his career, and so he did it for the fun of it. And that's why I think Ronnie never had to put a lot of pressure on himself. I think guys like Kai Green put a lot of pressure on themselves because that was their whole life, and so he was great, but I think he could have been even greater if his mind was a little more mature. And once again, I'm putting him in the same category with me. I was mentally strong in the gym and dieting and all that stuff and discipline, but as far as it came to competing, you have to have a really, really tough mindset. And I think Cutler had it. I think Dorian had it. I think most of Lee Haney had it. I think a lot of the champions out there had that mindset, and that's rare at a young age. A lot of guys get it as they get older. Like if I had the physique I had when I was in my 20s, when I was 35, and I didn't have any injuries, I probably would have been really good, because I would have been a lot more confident in myself. I would have been sure of myself. But at that point, I at 35, I had already retired. So because I didn't want to stay in longer than my health, needed to stay in, and that was just my decision. But the guys that are out there that are the toughest mentally seem to do the best. Look at Branch Warren, supreme belief in himself, despite everyone saying that you can't do this, he'll never achieve that. And he's like, you know what? F you, I'm going to do it. And he really believed in himself. And I mean, the guy had arguably the greatest comeback of all time when he won that Arnold Classic after tearing his quad 6 months earlier. That to me is the greatest comeback from any injury in the history of our bodybuilding sport, at least. Franco did one in a year after he hurt himself and won the Olympia, but his leg looked terrible. They kind of threw him a bone in 81. Branch's leg actually looked good. He actually got back the muscle he lost. I don't know how he did it, but you can watch his interview with us. He'll tell you how he did it. Seriously, though, mindset is everything in life. And that's what, as you get older, you start to see the wisdom of that. But a lot of times when you're younger, it's hard to believe in yourself or believe in the fact that if you just believe in yourself, you could achieve anything. And some guys just are mentally more mature at a younger age.
So that brings us to the part where Dave Palumbo goes on record. His predictions for the 2022 Olympia. So first, Dave, we will go to the 212 division and get your top two.
I hate making predictions because I'm always wrong. Very rarely did Dave Palumbo get it right. And you know why? Because I go with like who I like and the physiques that I enjoy. But at the end of the day, it's really impossible. I'll do it just because I'm not afraid to go on the record and say I was wrong. It doesn't really matter. It's all fun anyway. I think Clarita has the most gifts out there of anyone of the 212 in terms of consistency of conditioning, roundness and muscle bellies. Even though he's not the biggest, he's probably the smallest guy up there. He's won the Olympia before. I think the judges are looking for him. The only reason he lost probably was because of Lunsford, and Lunsford's gone. So I think he's essentially the reigning Mr. Olympia. Lunsford kind of just, took the title for 1 year from him. So it's going to be hard for Clarita to lose. Kamala Gargani is right there. He's a former Olympia champ, obviously. You would think he'd probably be the second guy, in there because he's got stage savvy. He's got mental maturity, and he's got tremendous conditioning on stage, and he's consistently always in shape. So you have to go with those guys 1, 2. But there are so many people we talked about on Heavy Muscle Radio last night that could come in there and upset that whole balance of that top two. Keon Pearson comes to mind. This guy if he comes in shape, I think no one beats him. I really think he'll blow everyone away. He's that good, but we have yet to see him at his best, conditioning-wise on stage. We've seen him really good when he won the New York Pro a couple of years ago, but we've yet to see him at his best. And so,
that was classic physique 2 years ago, right? No, 3 years. 2019.
Was he? I thought he did his 212 debut then. No, maybe it was classic. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about conditioning. I'm talking about conditioning wise on stage. It doesn't matter what division he's in.
Right. Yeah. No. That was a different human being.
Really good condition. And so if he, with this added mass, I mean, he's enormous now. He got put a lot of size on. If he can come in shape, I don't think anyone beats him. I don't think Clarita could beat him if he's in shape. We haven't seen him in shape yet. He's got gifts on top of gifts. I mean, small waist, amazing arms. He doesn't have gaps in his physique at all. He's perfect as far as I'm concerned for a 212 bodybuilder. But we have not seen him bring grainy conditioning. And so I can't pick him first because he hasn't proven to me that he can deliver the goods on contest day. Clarita has delivered the goods not only in the 212 division, but in the open division, and he's beat guys in the open division doing that. So I like him. If I have to pick someone, I have to pick Sean Clarita.
Classic physique. Is this going to be number 4 for Chris Bumstead, or might we see a stunning upset in the classic physique Olympia?
I mean, I think it was said yesterday, you're competing against Bumstead's physique, but you're also competing against the Bumstead brand. I mean, this guy's got 11 million followers on Instagram. I mean, this is like, there are movie stars, like we said yesterday, that don't have that many followers. I mean, he's good for the sport. I mean, so unless he's off, I don't see anyone beating him, because I don't think any judges are going to vote against this guy if it's super close. You know what I mean? No one's going to knock him out. No one's going up there and it's going to be like, holy mackerel, another better Bumstead. It would have to be Chris a tiny bit off and someone else looking really, really tight. And it might be super close. And if it's like that, Bumstead wins, So you got to knock the champ out, which means he's got to knock himself out, which means he would have to show up off. And I don't think we're going to see that. And so I have to go with Bumstead as for the win. I think Ramon Dino is going to be in that second position. I really think he's got a lot more muscle than the other guys with that same height as Bumstead. He's got a tiny waist. He's got a lot of bells and whistles, this guy. I like him for second. And in that third position, I think we're going to see, probably Ernst Kalasinski, who we just interviewed this past week as well. He seems mentally focused. This guy's 24 years old. He's still a baby, and he's only getting better and better. He will him and Dino will be the future of that division if they both stay in that division, because they got a lot of room to grow, and they also have age on their side. So I think it's going to be a great battle, though.
You know, it's so funny because these two divisions that we just covered, 212 and Classic Physique, I mean, if you listen to Jose Raymond for just talking about the 212 division, you know, the way he put it in, and it puts everything into perspective. When he was competing in the 212, you had, you know, 4 to 5, you know, really good. Obviously, you had Flex Lewis, and then there was everybody else. But even in that class of everybody else, there were maybe 4 to 6, you know, that you could say to yourself, all right, they're a threat, they're a factor. Now, I mean, you have legitimately 8 to 10 dudes coming in every year that are a threat. But you know, carrying the conversation over to Classic Physique, you know, today we're talking about Orest Kalasinski and Ramon Dino. You know, yesterday we were talking about, oh, well, you know, obviously, you know, who is the standard bearer? Someone like Terrence Ruffin, who, you know,
easily. You can't I don't even want to count him out, but I'm just talking about guys that can match up against Bumstead.
Right. No, but you know what, Dave? It's funny that we're talking, and I'm always using Ramon Dino and Orest Kalasinski as an example now because, you know, remember Chris Aceto's words, you know, from the beginning of the Classic Physique division, how, you know, the guys that we're talking about now are going to be fossils in a course of the next 4 to 5 years. This division is going to rapidly evolve. It has rapidly evolved to the point where now we have Chris Bumstead lookalikes walking around on the stage, right? and it's almost at the point where it's going to, you know, hyper evolve even past this. So you say to yourself, all right now, Orest and Ramon are the future of the division. Who knows? There's going to be some other guy coming out of Brazil in a couple of years, some other guy coming out of Europe. They're like, oh my God, like that. You know what I mean?
But it's tough, though, to get that level, because what's going to happen, the guys are getting more refined and more refined. So it's not like you can pop out in 1 year and be ready to compete for the Olympia title anymore. It's not like that, like when it first came out. The guys are so good now that it takes a few years to move up into Bumstead territory. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So that brings us to the main event, the open class. Mr. Olympia, your top 6 for the Mr. Olympia, and does that include Big Ramy winning his 3rd straight Sandow?
Yeah, I mean, you can't bet against Big Ramy because, I mean, he's the reigning champ. He's the biggest guy up there. He's got great structure. You know, he looks like he's conditioned. I'm looking at videos online of him, and his face is all sucked out. I've never seen that from him before. I think he's ready to go, and I don't think he's going to be beaten. Even if he's the same as he was last year, but he's not, because he's definitely bigger. You can see him in clothing. Even if he's 5 pounds bigger than last year and 5% harder, no one beats him. I just don't think anyone can beat him. I think he's that unbeatable at this point. I'm not saying it can't happen next year. I can't vote against Brandon Curry for 2nd place. You know why? Because the guy won the Arnold Classic. He's the most underrated guy in that lineup because people forget about him because he doesn't have the wow factor off stage that he has on stage. Everyone looks at Instagram pictures and they see guys. Nick Walker is probably one of the freakiest guys in Instagram. Let's face it. You know, he's a mass monster. We love mass monsters, right? Even the Bonac is a little mass monster, and so is Hadi Choopan. So we love to see those guys on Instagram. They're very impressive. Brandon is Brandon. He looks the same, but when you put him on stage, like when you put Roden on stage back in the day, against these guys in a lineup, he makes other people look bad, including Ramy. He made Ramy look bad last year, and Ramy is probably
Friday night,
bigger than him, you know. But he makes these guys look bad, and that's what wins shows. So I got to put Brandon a close second there. Again, I mean, I'd be a fool to not do that. I really think it's going to be 1-2, those 2 guys. Now, the 3rd through 6th place is where it gets tricky because now it's like who comes in shape, you know, and who's not going to be in shape because not everyone's going to be in the best shape. We know that. Hunter last year was not in great shape, but he looks bigger this year. I've gotten a lot of feedback from people that I respect, like Branch Warren, saying this guy is for real. He looks better in person. And Weinberger said the same thing. A lot of people thought he looked smooth last year. Steve said in person, the guy looks different. So I have to believe those 2 people because I take their opinion very, very seriously. They're not exaggerators. So, you know, where do you put Hunter in this? I think he could be as high as 3rd or 4th again. But which Hunter shows up at the show is questionable. So I'm going to have Nick Walker in the 3rd position because I think Nick has gotten better than last year. He is a freak. He has got mental maturity. You talk about mental toughness. This guy is going there to win. I think he's a solid third here. I have Hunter Labrada probably in that fourth position. If he shows up at his best. If he doesn't, he could be out of the top 6. So I'm a little nervous about putting him in the fourth position, but I'm going to put him in there based on Branch Warren's, opinion of him. I'm going to go Bonac 5th, and then Hadi Choopan 6th, and I think that could be flip-flop too, right there, based on how each one of these guys looks. I just think Bonac, when he's at his best, is better than Hadi, but we haven't seen him at his best, although at the Arnold he was close to his best, I thought. I think he is going to come into his best here, and I think he could be in that 4th or 5th position solidly. If some of these other guys are off, I think Bonac could be as high as 2nd. Same thing with Hadi. If some of these guys are off, Hadi moves up. I'm basing it on these guys performing at their best and bringing their best shape in. If everyone's at their best, I have Ramy, Brandon, Nick, Hunter, Bonac, and Hadi. That's my pick.
So there you have it. Agree, disagree, comment below. Let's get your top 6 for this upcoming Olympia. And then if you want to shout out for your 212 Classic Physique, whichever other divisions you want to make your predictions, comment below. Let's see what you have. Those are Dave's top 6. We'll put it on our social media as well. But that's going to do it for this show. We look forward to what should be an exciting Olympia weekend. Can't wait to have you along for the ride. Your feedback is welcome as always. Anything specific that you would like to see over the course of this weekend, comment below, DM us, whatever the case be. That's why we're there. We're there to cover the show. We're there to bring you what it is that you want to see. For Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you on Olympia weekend.